You know what the biggest trap in life is. It's not failure. It's not rejection. It's not even fear. It's accepting less than what you're capable of and calling it peace. Most people aren't suffering because life is unfair. They're suffering because they've accepted a version of life that's far below what they deserve. They've accepted the bare minimum. And what's worse is they've convinced themselves that it's okay, that it's enough. But tell me something, when did enough ever feel fulfilling? When did doing just enough to survive ever make you proud? When did being average ever give you that fire in your chest? It doesn't. You wake up, you go to work, you come home, you scroll your phone, and you call that living. That's not living, that's existing. You were not born to exist. You were born to conquer, to build, to dominate, to create something powerful. But you can't do any of that if you're comfortable with the bare minimum. The truth is, the bare minimum is seductive. It feels safe. It gives you the illusion of stability. You get a paycheck, you have some food, you have a roof, and you think, at least I'm okay. But deep down, you're not okay. You know you're wasting potential. You know there's more inside you. You feel it when you see someone winning, someone living a life of abundance and power, and that little spark inside you whispers, that could have been me. And you're right, it could have been you. It still can be you, but it won't happen until you stop accepting average as your destiny. You see, the world doesn't reward the man who says, I did my best. It rewards the man who says, I did whatever it took. There's a massive difference between the two. Doing your best is emotional comfort. Doing whatever it takes is a mindset. It's war. It's saying, I refuse to live a life that insults my potential. That's the difference between those who settle and those who rise. Most of you have been trained to believe that wanting more makes you greedy, that chasing success makes you arrogant, that being hungry makes you wrong. But that's propaganda created by people who gave up on themselves. Because if they can convince you to accept less, you'll never challenge them. You'll never rise above them. You'll stay quiet, obedient, predictable. That's how society keeps you weak. You've been told, be grateful for what you have. And yes, gratitude is powerful. But don't confuse gratitude with surrender. You can be grateful for what you have while still fighting for more. You can appreciate your current blessings while still knowing you deserve better. That's not greed, that's growth. Gratitude without ambition becomes complacency. Ambition without gratitude becomes chaos. You need both. Ask yourself honestly, where in your life have you accepted less than you deserve? Is it in your job? Are you settling for a paycheck that barely sustains you? Working under someone who doesn't value your time, your energy, or your skills? Is it in your relationships? Are you surrounded by people who drain your energy, who don't support your vision, who treat you like you're replaceable? Is it in your health? Do you look in the mirror and see the reflection of a man who used to dream, but now just drifts? Every area where you've settled is an area where you've told life, this is enough for me, and life listened. Life doesn't give you what you wish for, it gives you what you tolerate. If you tolerate mediocrity, you'll live in mediocrity. If you demand excellence, you'll attract excellence. That's how the universe works. You set the standard, and everything else adjusts around it. The reason people never escape the bare minimum is because they fear what happens when they demand more. They're afraid of losing what little they already have. But that's the irony by clinging to just enough. They lose everything anyway. They lose their drive. They lose their confidence. They lose their identity. Because deep down, every man knows when he's playing small. And that silent awareness eats you alive. The bare minimum destroys dreams not because it's hard, but because it's easy. It's easy to do just enough. It's easy to make excuses. It's easy to stay comfortable. And easy always leads to empty. The greatest tragedy isn't failure, it's potential wasted because you refuse to demand more. You have to reach a point where mediocrity disgusts you, where being average makes your skin crawl, where comfort feels like death. Because until you get there, you'll keep convincing yourself that someday you'll change. But someday never comes. You change the moment you raise your standard and decide, I'm done with average. Most people are one decision away from an entirely different life, the decision to stop accepting less. But that decision requires courage. The courage to walk away from what's safe. The courage to demand respect, not hope for it. The courage to look at yourself and say, I'm not living like this anymore. When you stop accepting the bare minimum, everything in your life shifts. Your energy changes. Your confidence changes. People start treating you differently because you start treating yourself differently. The world responds to your internal standard, not your external words. And when you finally raise that standard, when you refuse to tolerate mediocrity in any form, you become dangerous. Because a man who refuses to settle can't be controlled, can't be manipulated, can't be ignored. You know what separates the man who wins from the man who watches? It's not luck, it's not talent, it's standards. Every man on this planet is living a life that reflects one thing, what he's willing to tolerate. Your job, your body, your bank account, your relationships, your level of peace, all of it is a mirror showing you your standards. And the harsh truth is, most men have set their standards far too low. They say they want greatness, but their actions scream comfort. They say they want success, but they tolerate laziness. They say they want respect, but they allow disrespect. You can't have both. You either raise your standards or you stay stuck in the same place forever. The world doesn't care what you say you want. It only responds to what you demand. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you accept. You get what you're willing to fight for. Every time you compromise your standard, you teach the world how to treat you. You teach people how to value you. You teach your mind what's acceptable. So when you settle for less, you're not just losing opportunities, you're training yourself to stay small. Raising your standards isn't about arrogance. It's about self-respect. It's about saying, I refuse to live beneath my potential. Look around, most people are walking through life half asleep. They're not alive, they're just existing. They wake up tired, work jobs they hate, hang around people who drain their energy and call that normal. That's not normal. That's submission. That's surrender. And the reason they stay there is because they've never drawn a line in the sand and said, enough. I'm done accepting less than I deserve. When you raise your standards, you become dangerous because you stop negotiating with weakness. You stop tolerating excuses from yourself and from everyone around you. You stop accepting the "it's okay" mindset that kills ambition. You start holding yourself to a higher level, not sometimes, not when you feel like it, but every single day. You start saying no to anything that doesn't align with who you want to become. That's when life changes. That's when opportunities appear, not because luck suddenly found you, but because your new standard demanded them. Every successful person you admire didn't start with everything. They started by demanding more from themselves than others thought possible. They didn't lower their standards to fit the world. They forced the world to rise to meet theirs. That's the difference between dreamers and achievers. Dreamers adapt to life. Achievers make life adapt to them. You have to understand something: life will always test your standard. The moment you decide to raise it, you'll face resistance. People will call you obsessed, arrogant, unrealistic. They'll try to guilt you into staying average because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. But that's part of the process. When you raise your standards, you will outgrow people. You will outgrow habits. You will outgrow environments. And that's how it's supposed to be. Growth demands separation. Think about it. How many times have you lowered your standard just to be accepted? How many times have you told yourself, it's fine, when you knew deep down it wasn't? Every time you do that, you chip away at your confidence. You weaken your edge, because self-respect is built on consistency, the consistency of not betraying yourself. If you say you're going to wake up early and you don't, you just proved that your word means nothing. If you say you want success but keep wasting time, you've chosen comfort over power. Rising your standards means every promise you make to yourself becomes law. You can't expect to live an extraordinary life with ordinary standards. You can't expect to attract powerful people if your energy screams inconsistency. You can't expect wealth if you behave like a man who settles for crumbs. Life gives you what matches your energy. You can't cheat that. The man who expects more, works more, thinks sharper, moves faster, and demands respect, that's the man life bends for. Raising your standards isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. It's about aligning your habits with your vision. You want to be fit. Then your diet, your sleep, your discipline must rise to that level. You want financial freedom. then your work ethic, your strategy, your focus must rise to that level. You want respect, then your self-respect must be unshakable. Every standard you raise in one area creates momentum in another. Because when you stop tolerating weakness, you start discovering strength you didn't know existed. Most people never realize how powerful they are because they've never demanded enough from themselves to find out. They stop at good enough. They stop at comfortable. They stop at, at least I tried. That's the language of mediocrity. You need to delete that vocabulary from your mind. You need to replace I'll try with I will. Replace I hope with I'll make it happen. Replace it's okay with it's unacceptable. That's how standards shift. That's how lives transform. And don't wait for the world to approve of your new standards. They won't. When you start demanding excellence, you'll intimidate the average. When you start expecting discipline, you'll offend the lazy. When you start moving with purpose, you'll make the directionless uncomfortable. But that's good. That's how you know you're on the right path. Because raising your standards doesn't just change how you live, it changes who you are. It changes your presence, your energy, your aura. People will feel it before you speak. They'll sense that you're not someone who accepts mediocrity anymore. Every man must come to a point where he realizes no one's coming to save him. No one's going to raise his standard for him. No one's going to hand him excellence. You have to decide what kind of man you're going to be. You have to decide what you're willing to tolerate. Because the moment you draw that line when you say, never again, to weakness, laziness, and fear, you'll see the world respond in ways you never imagined. Comfort is the most dangerous addiction in the world. It doesn't destroy you all at once. It kills you slowly, silently, while convincing you that everything's fine. You wake up, you feel safe, you tell yourself, I'm doing okay. But deep down, you know you're not. You've traded your fire for familiarity. You've traded your hunger for a pillow. You've built a life that looks peaceful on the outside, but feels empty on the inside. That's what comfort does. It steals your edge. It dulls your ambition. It turns lions into house cats. The truth is, every man wants success until he realizes the price. The price isn't money or time, it's discomfort. It's pain, it's struggle, it's sacrifice. And that's where most people quit. They love the dream but hate the grind. They want the reward but reject the pain that earns it. That's why so few ever reach greatness. Because greatness doesn't come from doing what feels good. It comes from doing what's necessary, even when it hurts. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your compass. It points directly to where you need to grow. When something feels uncomfortable, it means you're in the right direction. Every time you avoid pain, you avoid progress. Every time you choose comfort, you choose weakness. Every time you say, I'll do it later, you train your mind to accept failure. The gym is uncomfortable, but so is hating what you see in the mirror. Discipline is uncomfortable, but so is regret. Building your dream is uncomfortable, but so is being a spectator in someone else's. The question isn't whether you'll feel pain. The question is, what kind of pain are you willing to live with? Society has lied to you. It's taught you that comfort equals happiness, that the goal of life is to relax, to chill, to find balance. But comfort is a cage dressed up as peace. It feels good, but it limits you. You sit there scrolling your phone, eating junk, wasting time, convincing yourself you've earned a break. A break from what? From becoming the man you're supposed to be. From pushing toward your potential. That break is slowly breaking you. You don't need balance. You need drive. You don't need comfort. You need purpose. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They learned to make discomfort their home. They didn't run from pain. They built their empire through it. You think discipline is hard? Try living with regret. You think chasing your goals is exhausting? Try watching someone else live your dream because you were too comfortable to chase it. Every ounce of comfort you cling to now will become a weight you carry later. The mind loves comfort because it fears uncertainty. It fears failure, rejection, and change. But that's where growth lives, on the other side of fear. Your brain will whisper, take it easy, rest, you've done enough. That's the lie of comfort. It disguises itself as self-care, but it's actually self-sabotage. You think you're resting, but you're rusting. You think you're protecting yourself, but you're imprisoning yourself. The man who avoids discomfort today guarantees his suffering tomorrow. You need to rewire how you see pain. Pain is a privilege. It's proof that you're alive. It's proof that you're growing. Every great body was built through pain. Every great business was built through pressure. Every great mind was forged through struggle. You can't skip the hard parts and expect the reward. You can't live like a coward and expect the world to treat you like a king. Pain is the initiation fee to greatness, and most people just aren't willing to pay it. When you train yourself to embrace discomfort, something shifts inside you. You stop fearing failure because you've already felt worse and survived. You stop making excuses because you realize that pain doesn't destroy you, it strengthens you. You start to crave challenge because it makes you sharper, hungrier, more dangerous. The things that used to intimidate you now inspire you. The things that used to break you now build you. You stop chasing comfort and start chasing power. Think about the people who complain about their lives, the ones who say, I hate my job, I'm tired, I'm stuck. They all have one thing in common. They choose comfort every single day. They choose the easy route, the short-term pleasure, the quick escape. They don't want to feel uncomfortable, so they avoid the very things that could set them free. And then they wonder why nothing changes. The truth is, simple comfort is the enemy of change. Every man must decide whether he wants to live a life of safety or significance. Safety keeps you average, significance demands risk. Safety gives you comfort, significance gives you legacy, and the only path between the two is pain. You can't have both. You can't grow and stay comfortable at the same time. One must die for the other to live. The pain you resist today will become the regret you carry forever. The discomfort you embrace today will become the strength that defines you. So when life gets hard, when you feel like quitting, when your mind screams for comfort, understand that you're not breaking down, you're breaking through. That pressure you feel is potential. That discomfort you hate is transformation. Every great man, every champion, every warrior learned to find peace inside the storm. They didn't pray for things to get easier. They prayed for the strength to stay in the fight because they understood one thing that most people never will: comfort is cheap, but greatness is expensive, and the currency is pain. Respect, everyone wants it, but very few actually earn it. Everyone wants to be seen, to be valued, to be treated like someone of importance. But here's the truth most people refuse to accept. The world mirrors how you treat yourself. If you walk like you don't matter, if you speak like you don't believe, if you live like you don't care, then why should anyone else care? Respect isn't handed out, it's reflected back. And the reflection begins within you. You can't demand respect from others when you don't respect yourself. You can't expect loyalty, admiration, or recognition when your own actions scream weakness. Respect isn't built through words, it's built through behavior. It's not about what you post online, it's about what you do when nobody's watching. Every decision you make either strengthens or shatters your self-respect. And every time you break a promise to yourself, every time you choose laziness over purpose, every time you let fear silence your potential, you tell your subconscious, I'm not worth it. Think about it. How can you expect others to believe in you when you don't believe in yourself? How can you expect the world to take you seriously when you don't take yourself seriously? Respect is a byproduct of standards, and standards are a byproduct of discipline. If your standards are low, your respect is low. It's that simple. The man who respects himself doesn't beg for attention. He commands it. He doesn't need validation. He radiates certainty. He doesn't chase approval. He walks with purpose. That's the difference between a man of value and a man who's invisible. You see, most men are searching for external validation because they're empty inside. They want people to notice them, to like them, to praise them, because they've never learned to give that energy to themselves. But true self-respect doesn't come from applause, it comes from accountability. It's built in silence, in the hours you spend grinding when no one sees you. It's built in consistency, in doing what you said you'd do even when motivation fades. It's built in restraint, in walking away from what disrespects your time, your energy, your mission. Every man has a voice in his head, one that watches everything he does. When you wake up early, that voice takes note. When you work out even when you're tired, that voice claps for you. When you stay disciplined while others are distracted, that voice grows louder. But when you lie to yourself, when you make excuses, when you settle for less, that same voice loses respect for you. It stops believing in you. And once that voice stops believing, your confidence collapses. You walk differently. You speak differently. You stop seeing yourself as capable. And that's when the world stops seeing you as capable too. Respect begins with the smallest actions. The way you carry yourself, the way you talk to yourself, the way you dress, the way you manage your time, these things create the foundation of your identity. If you treat your time like it's worthless, people will waste it. If you treat your goals like they don't matter, people will laugh at them. If you treat yourself like an afterthought, the world will treat you like one too. You teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself, and that's why discipline is the highest form of self-respect. When you wake up early, when you train, when you work hard, when you push through pain, you're not just chasing success, you're proving to yourself that you're worthy of it. You're saying, I respect my potential too much to waste it. Every act of discipline adds to your value. Every time you do what's hard, you strengthen the bond between who you are and who you want to be. That's how you earn respect from yourself first, then from the world. Most people think respect comes from power or money, but they've got it backward. Power and money follow respect. You can't sustain either without it, because respect is what keeps you grounded when you win and focused when you lose. It's what stops you from betraying your principles when things get hard. When you truly respect yourself, you stop compromising for attention. You stop selling your integrity for approval. You stop chasing people who don't value you because you understand your own worth. A man who respects himself doesn't need to tell anyone he's powerful. They can feel it. It's in his posture, his tone, his presence. He doesn't need to prove anything because his life already does. His words carry weight because they're backed by consistency. His silence commands attention because it comes from a place of inner strength, not insecurity. You can't fake that energy. It comes from years of showing up for yourself when it was hard, from holding the line when everyone else gave up, from saying, no matter what happens, I won't betray myself. And when you reach that level of self-respect, something incredible happens. The world starts reflecting it back to you. People treat you differently. Opportunities appear. Doors open. Not because luck found you, but because your energy shifted. You're no longer sending signals of weakness or desperation. You're walking like a man who knows who he is. The universe always matches your internal value with external rewards, and it starts with self-respect. But here's the thing, self-respect is not built overnight. It's a war. A war between who you are and who you're supposed to become. You'll fail, you'll fall, you'll face days when you don't feel worthy. But every time you get back up, every time you keep your word, every time you act with integrity, even when no one's watching, you gain ground in that war. You build armor. You become someone solid, someone unshakable. And that's when you start realizing that the respect you were chasing from others was never the point. The real power was earning it from yourself first. The world doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about your excuses, your circumstances, or your past. It rewards the ones who move with purpose, who refuse to wait for permission, who take what they believe they deserve. And that's why most people never rise, because they're too soft for a world that only respects strength. You see, life is not fair. It never has been. It's built on competition, not compassion. It's a battlefield where only the disciplined, the relentless, and the ruthless survive. That's not cruelty, that's reality. Every day, you're either the hunter or the hunted. You're either taking ground or losing it. The man who hesitates, who second guesses, who overthinks, gets eaten alive by the one who moves without apology. That's why being ruthless isn't about being evil, it's about being focused. It's about being unshakably committed to your vision. No matter who doubts you, no matter who leaves you, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. Ruthlessness means cutting through the noise, the fear, and the weakness that society feeds you to keep you soft. You've been told to be humble, to be patient, to be nice, to wait your turn. But look around, the world doesn't wait for anyone. Opportunities are taken, not handed out. Power is earned through pressure, not politeness. The men who win aren't the ones who wait. They're the ones who act while everyone else is thinking. They move with urgency because they understand that time doesn't care about excuses. Every moment you waste being hesitant, someone else is making moves. Every second you spend overthinking, someone else is executing. Every time you choose comfort, someone else is choosing domination. The reason most people never achieve anything significant is because they still think they have time. They think they can play nice and still win big. But life doesn't reward nice, it rewards necessary. If you're not willing to be fierce about your goals, you'll forever be at the mercy of those who are. The man who's ruthless with his time, his focus, and his effort will always rise above the one who's careful, cautious, and waiting for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. Being ruthless doesn't mean stepping on others for no reason. It means protecting your vision like your life depends on it, because it does. It means cutting out distractions, eliminating weakness, and saying no to anything that pulls you away from your mission. It means valuing your purpose over popularity, your growth over comfort, your results over approval. You can't please everyone and win at the same time. Every great man you admire had to become ruthless to succeed. He had to say no to mediocrity, no to wasted time, no to soft emotions that lead nowhere. Weak men are obsessed with how things look. Strong men care only about results. Weak men complain about fairness. Strong men create outcomes. Weak men talk about what they're going to do someday. Strong men make it happen, even if it means being misunderstood or hated. That's the difference between a spectator and a winner ruthlessness. Because the truth is, life will test you. It will hit you, mock you, and try to break you. And the only thing that keeps you standing is your ability to keep moving forward without letting emotion cloud your mission. You can't be ruled by emotion and expect to win in a world ruled by action. The man who controls his emotions controls his future. The man who reacts with discipline instead of feelings becomes unstoppable. Ruthlessness is emotional mastery. It's the ability to face pain, rejection, and failure and say, I'm not done. It's choosing progress over pity. It's replacing I wish with I will. You don't need sympathy, you need results. You don't need validation, you need victory. And understand this, the world will try to shame you for being ruthless. It'll call you arrogant, heartless, selfish. But the same world that mocks you will envy you when you win. Because deep down, everyone respects the man who refuses to quit. Everyone admires the man who never compromises his standard. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be legendary. You're not here to blend in. You're here to stand out. That requires boldness. That requires courage. That requires a level of focus that looks like obsession to the average mind. Being ruthless means doing what's right for your purpose even when it's unpopular. It means saying no to the party, no to the distraction, no to the easy way out, because you know your time is precious. Every hour wasted is a piece of your destiny slipping away. You have to treat your time like a weapon, sharp, intentional, and deadly to anything that doesn't align with your mission. Most people spend their time like they'll live forever. The ruthless spend it like every second counts, because it does. The truth is, the world doesn't reward potential, it rewards power. And power comes from discipline. Power comes from focus. Power comes from doing what others are too scared to do. The man who is ruthless with his time, his emotions, and his energy becomes unstoppable because he's not distracted by weakness. He's not chasing approval. He's chasing legacy. And that's what makes him dangerous, not because he wants to hurt others, but because he refuses to be hurt by excuses, fear, or failure. So when life tests you, when things get hard, when people doubt you, remember this: softness is a luxury you can't afford. The world belongs to those who are bold enough to take it. It belongs to the men who look at the storm and walk into it. It belongs to those who don't beg for mercy, but create their own destiny through sheer will and relentless action. The world rewards the ruthless, not because they're lucky, but because they're willing to do what the weak won't. Every man reaches a point in his life where he has to decide: either he keeps living like everyone else, chasing distractions, comfort, and short-term pleasure, or he steps up and demands more from himself. Because the truth is, no one's coming to save you. No one's coming to hand you the life you want. You have to go out there and take it. That's the mindset of a man who refuses to settle for less. That's the mindset of someone who knows he deserves more, not because the world owes him anything, but because he's willing to work harder, think smarter, and endure longer than everyone else. You deserve more only if you're ready to become more. You can't expect abundance with a lazy work ethic. You can't expect power while living with weak habits. You can't attract success while carrying the mindset of a victim. Every result you want in life is a reflection of what you tolerate from yourself. If you tolerate procrastination, you'll live in delay. If you tolerate fear, you'll live in limitation. If you tolerate mediocrity, your life will reflect it in every area. But the moment you decide that enough is enough, that you will not settle for average, that's the moment life starts to shift. That's when you move from surviving to dominating. Most people never rise because they lie to themselves daily. They say they want success, but they sleep in. They say they want to win, but they make excuses. They say they want freedom, but they're slaves to comfort. You can't have both comfort and greatness. You must choose one. Greatness requires sacrifice. It demands that you trade ease for evolution. It means giving up temporary pleasure for permanent power. And that's why most people don't have what they want, not because they can't, but because they won't. They won't give up the habits that are holding them back. They won't endure discomfort long enough to see results. They quit when things get tough, and then they blame luck, society, or others for their failures. You want to know why you deserve more? Because you were born with limitless potential. But potential means nothing if you never activate it. The richest place on earth isn't the oil fields or diamond mines, it's the graveyard, where millions of dreams were buried because people were too afraid to demand more from life. Fear kills more dreams than failure ever will. And most people die long before they're buried. They die the moment they stop pushing themselves. The moment they decide, this is enough, when deep down they know it isn't. You can't call yourself a man of purpose and still live below your capabilities. You can't claim to be hungry and still feed yourself excuses. You must wake up with hunger, not for food, not for pleasure, but for progress. Hunger for a life that reflects your discipline, your effort, and your strength. Every day, you should ask yourself, am I becoming the man I said I would be? If the answer is no, then change something. Do more, learn more, grind harder. No one respects the man who talks about what he could do. Respect comes from execution, from results, from consistency. You build power by showing up every day and giving everything, even when you don't feel like it. That's how you earn more. That's how you become more. That's how you deserve more. Understand this: the world gives you exactly what you demand from it. If you settle for average, you'll get average. If you settle for disrespect, you'll be disrespected. If you settle for less, life will give you less. But the man who refuses to settle, the man who says, I'll work until I get it, is the one who rises, because life bends to those who refuse to break. Every great man you admire wasn't handed anything, he demanded it through effort, through focus, through relentless execution. You can't wish your way into success. You have to earn it through obsession. And yes, it's hard. It's supposed to be hard. That's the beauty of it. If it were easy, everyone would have it, and it would mean nothing. The struggle is what separates the strong from the weak, the committed from the casual. When you wake up tired, when you feel defeated, when no one believes in you, that's the moment that defines you. That's when you either prove your worth or prove your weakness. And that's when you decide whether you truly believe you deserve more. Because if you do, you'll get up anyway. You'll fight anyway. You'll grind anyway. The man who refuses to quit, even when it hurts, becomes unstoppable. You can't talk about deserving more if you're not willing to outwork the version of you who's satisfied with less. You can't speak of greatness while acting like everyone else. You have to think differently, move differently, and live with standards that scare average people. You have to look at your life and destroy everything that doesn't push you forward: the toxic friends, the wasted time, the weak habits. Replace them with focus, discipline, and vision. The more you eliminate weakness, the more room you create for greatness. That's how you grow. That's how you win. You deserve more, but not because someone told you so. You deserve more because you're ready to become the kind of person who earns it. You deserve more because you refuse to be another man who dies with potential instead of purpose. You deserve more because you've chosen the harder path, the one that forces you to evolve. And that path, though brutal, is the only one that leads to real fulfillment. Every time you reject comfort, every time you silence your excuses, every time you keep going when others stop, you're proving that you deserve it. Because at the end of the day, life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you're willing to fight for. At the end of the day, everything comes down to one truth: you get what you demand from life. The world doesn't hand out greatness, it rewards discipline. It doesn't recognize wishes, it respects results. Every moment you spend doubting yourself is a moment you could have used to build yourself. Every excuse you make is a brick in the wall separating you from your potential. You must understand, no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to hand you success. You are the only one responsible for where you are and where you'll go next. You've heard it all: the pain, the struggle, the setbacks. But those things are not curses, they're catalysts. They exist to shape you, to sharpen you, to prepare you for the life you claim you want. Because only through hardship do you learn strength, and only through failure do you discover resilience. Every battle you face is building you into the person who can handle the victory you're chasing. That's why you can't quit. Not now, not ever. You deserve more, but only if you're willing to become more. Only if you're ready to outwork, outlast, and outthink every version of yourself that ever settled for less. You deserve more if you're prepared to say no to comfort and yes to challenge. Because success isn't found in the easy path, it's forged in the fire of discipline, focus, and sacrifice. It's earned by those who take responsibility, who stop waiting for miracles and start creating them. So the question isn't whether you deserve more, the real question is whether you're willing to demand it from yourself every single day. Whether you'll wake up hungry for progress, ready to fight for your vision, and committed to becoming the strongest version of you. Life will only ever meet you at the level of your effort. The moment you raise your standard, everything changes. The moment you stop settling, you start winning. Because when you decide that mediocrity is no longer acceptable, greatness has no choice but to become your reality.